We welcome you all back to Creepypasta Bistro. It certainly has been a while, hasn't it? I'm D1 the Hellcat.
And I am his loving and compassionate wife Gale. You all are probably wondering why we're having sad looks on our faces right now.
Well, if you've been following our creator for the past month, you all probably know about how the creator's mother has sadly passed away in her sleep in early April. Because of her tragic death, the creator had to go on hiatus for about a month to mourn her, putting Creepypasta Bistro in scratch and grounder for hire on hiatus as well.
Needless to say, it hit the creator's family very hard. But they stuck with her until the very end, and if you watch the latest episode of Scratch and Grounder for Hire, then you all should probably get the gist by now.
We'll get back to the topic in a sec, but we want to announce that the creator will be choosing the stories and genres, and polls will be occasional from now on. Now that that's out of the way, let's get on to the topic at hand. For our story tonight, we jump from spooky media, to an abandoned daycare, to the virtual world of video games.
There are quite a lot of popular stories about the horrors of the virtual world, such as Sonic.exe, Ben Drowned, Gigas from Earthbound, or a plethora of Pokemon creepypastas.
Those stories will be told another day. For this tale, we take a look at the story of an old typing game revolving around a cook who goes by the name of Mr. Mix. Those who played the titular game mainly remember it being a typing game with an unforgiving difficulty curve as well as questionable sounds passing themselves off as music. But the many people, including the children that have played Mr. Mix, have found something very sinister about the game sometime after they've played the typing game. What is it about this game Mr. Mix that has terrified many people? Well, grab your gaming controllers, or in this instance, your computer keyboards for this story. It's game time. Does anyone remember an old PC game from the early 1990s called Mr. Mix? It was mainly a typing game, similar to Mario Teaches Typing, where you have to put words into a box to make a chef. The titular Mr. Mix, place ingredients into a bowl. Unlike most typing games, however, the game was notorious for having an insane difficulty curve. It had a words per minute requirement for each level, being as low as 10 on level 1 and as high as 85 on the third. By level 5, the requirement reaches over 500, effectively making it impossible to proceed any further. One of the main things that people immediately noticed about the game was the background music. On the first level, it was an unsettling pattern of growls that got progressively louder as the level went on, often causing damage to early computer speakers that were not designed to handle extremely high volumes. The second level had no music at all, and the third had what sounded like a very low-quality recording of a hairdryer playing in the background. The remaining two levels had an incredibly loud high-pitched ringing throughout that caused severe eardrum damage to those who managed to get that far. Another rather disturbing aspect of the game was the design of Mr. Mix himself. He was a large, round-faced, overweight man with beady eyes and red spots on his cheeks. Most children who played the game reported having vivid nightmares of Mr. Mix speaking to them in a quiet, raspy voice and threatening them to keep quiet about something. However, none of them could remember exactly what that was. One psychologist who saw many of these children reported being disturbed by the sheer amount of terror on their faces as they recounted details of the nightmare. Many of them broke down into tears in the process, begging for their parents to save them. However, no direct relationship to the game itself could be determined by these few cases, as not all children suffered the same adverse effects. For obvious reasons, the game did not sell very well. It remained in relative obscurity until a few years ago, when PC hackers got hold of a ROM of it and started digging through it. Using memory hacking software, they managed to crack the game's code and bypass the impossible fifth level. What they found, however, was highly disturbing, and caused many of them to quit the expedition altogether. According to the reports these hackers left behind, the game behaves very strangely if the fifth level is bypassed. The game crashes violently and closes. writing a bunch of files to the user system32 directory to the point that the RAM is almost completely filled. These files are reportedly pictures of people with horribly deformed faces, appearing to scream in pain and agony. Their eyes bleeding from the tear ducts and their outer layer of skin torn clean off in multiple places. If the user attempts to delete these files, their computer will violently crash and blue screen, causing permanent, irreparable damage to the hard drive. The hackers found that this was caused by a lone byte in the game's ROM that triggered when the 5th level was completed. After removing this byte, they were able to proceed to the 6th and final level. Unfortunately, all of the original hackers declined to discuss what they saw in the final level. Each of them became extremely paranoid and reclusive afterwards, refusing to talk about anything related to the game and showing astonishingly extreme symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder. Most of them ceased to be able to form coherent sentences within a week. Within a month, all of them had gone missing. All remaining copies of the game were destroyed. To this day, no one knows what was in it that caused the group so much psychological damage. Maybe it's better that way. 2 years after this incident, a man was arrested for trying to kidnap an 8-year-old girl from a grocery store. Through DNA and fingerprint analysis, he was identified as one of the original hackers who had viewed the final level of the game. He was wearing a white chef's hat and had a look of unspeakable malice and insanity on his face. When interrogated, the man would only say one thing.
"I'm Mr. Mix, shush."
And that was Mr. Mix. Special thanks to the creator, Mark, Ruby, Gumball, JaneVixen, Packy, Tiffany, Rebbeca, Sniffles, Leon, Boris, and Mr. Mix himself for their performances.
Did you all like the dramatization of this story? Let us know in the comments section below.
We will go on another hiatus as the creator has announced that he will begin production on another project. Gumball's parents, Fox Enemy's own version, get arrested and executed. Expect to see us again to witness Gumball's psychopath parents get executed for their crimes, this time from the perspective of Fox Enemy's own channel. Until then, thank you all for watching the latest episode of Creepypasta Bistro. We have been your hosts D1 and Gale. Goodbye, take care, and stay safe.
Time, space, reality. It's more than a linear path. It's a prism of endless possibility, where a single choice can branch out into infinite realities, creating alternate worlds from the ones you know. I am the Watcher. You have seen the story of a blue cat who was driven away from his family to endure the hardships of another, along with his brothers and sisters, only to be rescued by a band of heroes and bring the assailants to justice for their atrocities. Imagine another timeline where the Catboy was never abandoned by his own family, but still take pleasure in harming him and treating him as a means to an end, and almost everyone around him was no different, until the same band of heroes team up to save the blue Catboy from his turmoil. When the time comes, I will be your guide in this alternate reality. For now, ponder the question: what if?